this session we're primarily going to be looking at importing CAD files into 3ds Max. Many times you are going to get your models from a CAD package, whether it be AutoCAD, whether it be Revit, it could even be simpler CAD packages like SketchUp, or even more complicated ones like AutoCAD. For the most part, one thing will remain consistent. You will be using DWG files with one exception. We'll see that later on in this session. These DWG files are more or less structured in the same way. Generally, you'll have three different types of objects. You'll have splines, that is 2D geometry. You'll have 3D geometry, being either surface objects or solid objects. Now, to make your life much simpler once you get into 3ds Max, it's important that you structure your models in CAD in specific ways that you'll be able to follow easily once you're in Max. First of all, one thing that's absolutely essential is that you organize your models and layer them according to materials. So, for example, you can see here I have a couple of layers that I've called Building 1 Second, that is for second floor or second level, Frame, and Building 1 Second Glass. So these are two layers for the frame and glass of the upper area of this building here. So that's one thing that's very important, because when you bring these things into Max, these are going to actually be grouped together, and you'll want to be able to easily apply a material to this one object that will be created. The other thing that I think is very important too is to try to organize your layers by region. So you'll notice here I have a whole bunch of layers that are starting with Building 1, and then I have a bunch of layers here for Building 2, and then I have a few layers here for the walkway that goes between the building that you can't quite see in this view. So this is just one way of being able to control the visibility of specific areas, and in fact also control the materials that you potentially will apply to these surfaces. For example, Building 2 walls may not be the same material as the Building 1 walls. So you'll want that flexibility once you get into Max. One thing I haven't done, since I have a very simple and schematic model completed, is I haven't gone, let's say, an extra step and said, I have some very complex geometry on an individual facade of my building. If you had 4 facades of your building that had very complex geometry, you might want to have, again, the ability, once in Max, to turn off individual facades of your building that you don't see in a particular view. This would save time in terms of regenerating the views in Max, and also in rendering time. So I want you to load up this file. You can see here the name of it up at the top, Curve and Pyramid Building.dwg. You can look here at the various objects. You could go through and perhaps isolate some of the layers. Again, it's a very simple building at this point. I haven't even put frames everywhere. There's basically 2 different types of objects. Here you can see there's a solids object for the walls of the pyramid. There's also solid object here for the glass surface, and you could see that it goes entirely within the solid object of the wall. And there are also a few splines that are left over from some of the work I've done in creating the solid objects in AutoCAD. There's one here at the base of the pyramid, and also here at the base of the this curved element in the first building. So in some cases, it's really worthwhile to work with Boolean operations in AutoCAD, where you have perhaps in this case an extrusion which represents the wall of the ground floor, and then you just punching holes in the sides of and front of this wall. And then in other instances here, you can see I've created a curtain wall in the upper level, and I have not Boolean those together. That is probably fine. It's not going to give us, I think, any problems once we get into Max. So the next step, pretty simple. We have our file. It's in a DWG format already because it's an AutoCAD file, and really there's nothing that we need to do. Had we just completed modeling this, we would just need to save the DWG file. So if you have AutoCAD, go into this file, have a look around, see how it's structured. You could alternately just play with some of the layers to see which layers are which objects, so you kind of know what to expect, what you're getting once you get into 3ds Max. So here's a couple of layers, the frame, the glass, and so on. There are the floors. There's the ground glass area and the walls. And again, nothing further needs to be done now. Everything has been saved. All we have to do is go into Max and file link this file.